Hey guys, what's going on? Underground Geek here. So I'm doing a quick little video before I go to the gym. I got my Batman Chuck Taylors on. I'm ready to go. I just got those the other day, so I'm really excited to use them. So this story came to me from J.D. Dishman, the comic otaku, and he says, "Dang, CBR used to be a reliable source until the SJWs invaded." When was that? Like 10 years ago? But he has a story here, and it says, "The last thing Marvel Comics needs is another relaunch by CBR. I agree, but they have a backhanded narrative to this title. And so let's go ahead and talk about this story here. And I think it's funny that they use this image here from the relaunch with all the original heroes except for Goober there. And they don't realize that they're actually conflicting with their own story. So let's read a little bit of what they say here. Many fans are wondering what it means for some of the relatively new titles that are finding their groove and legacy renumbering of long-established books. Which books are those? Based on how well previous overhauls have gone for the publisher over the last decade, it's difficult to say. They haven't gone well at all. The last two reboots have been terrible. It says, neither Marvel Now nor All New, All Different Marvel was the most well-received reboots by fans. But while the Legacy initiative is really still young to seem to deem it a failure, this is something that hasn't stopped Marvel from kicking off reboots in the past. Now some of comics' mightiest heroes are on the precipice of another nosedive, and it's a shame." Yeah, you just said exactly what we're thinking. Legacy is taking a nosedive. I know what you're trying to say, but it's Legacy that's taking a nosedive. So it says, while Marvel Comics has been losing market share and goodwill with longtime fans, has been attributed to numerous theories, some of which are quite dubious. So here we go. Here comes the virtue signaling. It says, cries bemoaning examples of perceived affirmative action right there off the bat, making fun of regular fans, belittling what they're talking about and actually lying about what they're talking about. With regards to established heroes facing changes in their ethnicities, gender, or sexual identity has been cited despite the fact that many of the books are some of Marvel's most popular. See, right there, that's deceptive. Because you're saying that they're some of Marvel's most popular. That's because their sales are in the dumpster. And you want to know what the most popular was? Spider-Man. Yeah, just Spider-Man, the regular Spider-Man. Yep. Meanwhile, other readers claim the overall quality of books has suffered due to constraints on creative teams. What constraints are you talking about? They hired a bunch of people that don't know what they're doing and wrote YA novels and got their books canceled after like 4 or 5 issues, thus leading to low number sales. But the real cause might be the fact that Marvel Comics is trying to have its cake and eat it too. See, that's what this is what's so silly about this article. They're trying to go after Marvel for doing this reboot when they were all about Marvel messing up the characters and making bad books. That makes zero sense. It says, not by simply integrating new characters into the Marvel view, but simultaneously embracing its long-standing mythos, even as it appears to be pushing it aside. You're right, they are pushing the regular characters aside. The big issue with the comics in the modern era is that they are, by and large, hidden from the public eye. In order to obtain floppies, a customer has 2 options at their disposal. Wrong. They can either go to a specialty store to make a purchase or sign up for a subscription online. Wrong. Both of these options can be quite daunting for unguided newcomers. How is that daunting? If you're going to get a comic book, why wouldn't you go to a comic store? And they're in plenty of bookstores now. They're in BAM, they're in Barnes & Noble, and they're in Second and Charles. They're in a lot of stores. They're not as good as they're not as many places as they used to be because of the terrible sales. Okay? They're not at gas stations anymore because of the terrible sales. Both of these options can be quite daunting. That just gets on my nerves so bad. Sure, comic book movies are the new shorthand for blockbuster cinema, but maybe if the parent studios behind them advertise their source material in any other manner beyond ads for comics and other comics, there might be some new true believers. You just contradicted yourself. They're making whole movies advertising these characters. Whole movies for 15 years. The nerd, quote unquote, nerd geek culture is the biggest it's ever been. Okay. You can now click anywhere on the internet and see Batman, Spider-Man, or something like that advertised for their movies. Yes, they need to advertise more. I think they should advertise more in commercials on TV. But here's my thing. You know what's on TV? More superhero shows. I mean, are you stupid? God. Yes, they should probably do some more commercials. But they have Gotham, they have Arrow, they have Runaways, they have Inhumans, they have Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. So let's see if I can go to the next page without too many advertisements. The fact of the matter is, there is always room at the table for new comic book fans. For the most part, the community is made of loving, welcoming nerds, people who want nothing more than for everyone to share in their love for the vast mythology comics has been building up for nearly a century. Yeah, we are. That's why we buy comic books, because we're the real fans of the comic books. We want everybody to like them. Except for those fringe players, they only want certain people to like the books. What Marvel needs to realize is that making a launch pad for new readers doesn't require reboots every 2 years. You're right. That's why we should fire every one of those SJW fringe players that has been relaunching the comic book for the past 2 years and not doing anything different, except for taking away the main characters. Clearly, it's not working. You're right. Perhaps the better solution is to more effectively reach out to the masses. Comic readers are going to buy comic books no matter what, childish boycotting aside. Oh my God. There you go. Comic readers are going to buy comics no matter what, childish boycotting aside. And rebooting a bunch of titles only pushes long-time readers away, especially when story arcs and characters' developing points are left abandoned because of it. Yet you're right. You're right there. So how about this? How about we don't change Iron Man to a 15-year-old black girl that does nothing wrong and is perfect at everything? How about that? Okay. Despite mixed feelings fans have had about some of the books under the Marvel Legacy banner, reclaiming the triple-digit numbering for many of the titles was a step in the right direction. Wrong. I hated that because then I didn't know what issue I was on. I had to go back and try to figure out where I was at because the last issue was 12 and the next issue was 112. You can bring in a new creative team, advertise a high-numbered issue as new, and still make it work. Just look at the Grant Morrison and Frank Quitely did during their new iconic run of New X-Men, for example. The title of the book changed, but the numbering stayed the same, which indicated the long-time readers, blah, 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 blah. From an outside perspective, it's easy to see comic books, especially with the superhero genre, as an impenetrable fandom. But in the age of instant information, anyone can become an armchair scholar on a subject over the course of an afternoon of internet research. Kind of like you guys. There's no reason for a new reader to feel intimidated by comic books and with numbers higher than their shoe sizes. That's not even a thing. That is not. I've not heard one person say that they didn't read comic books because they were so far behind on the numbers. I've never heard somebody say, "Oh, they changed the numbering and I can't read it now because it's 112. I haven't read one." I've never heard that. Now, I have heard where I was reading issue 12 and the next issue was 112 and I didn't know where I was at. If someone picks up the first issue of the new story arc and a big event is referenced, they have three choices. Find and read the books covering the aforementioned event, power through, and allow the creators to fill in the necessary blanks along the way, or scroll through a wiki on the smartphone until they're up to speed. Yeah. While the third option may sound like blasphemy to fans, the fact is it's just as valid as other, more traditional ones. The problem lies in the fact that unless Marvel is actually trying to cast a wider net while continuing to appeal to longtime fans, the hypothetical new reader may never pick up a Marvel comic in the first place, and that's a real shame. You know why they'll never pick it up? because they go to look at the comic book, and instead of Iron Man, you've got Riri Williams. Okay? That's what the problem is. The problem is, I go watch an Avengers movie, and my favorite character is Hulk, and then I go pick up the book, and it's totally awesome Hulk. It's a completely different character. Or I just watched, let's see, what's another good one? I just watched Thor, and I really liked it so much that I watched the other 2 movies, and now I was like, man, I really want to read Thor. And then I go pick it up, and it's freaking Jane dying of cancer. That's the problem. The problem is they have hired these people that don't know the characters, that want to change everything about them to meet their own political needs, to make themselves feel better, to get a group of people that are never going to read the comics to read them for 2 years, and it didn't work. It's not hard to figure out. And these people right here want to jump around the subject so much and not say what actually is going on that it really pisses me off, because all you have to do is do what they're doing right now. CBR, you need to shut up, because you don't actually buy comic books. You read them free online. And the fact is, you don't know what you're talking about, because you are that armchair person getting internet research. Okay? And you're calling out fans doing silly, childish boycotts when you really ought to be doing what we're doing and do the move the needle hashtag. Why don't you guys go start buying some books and start posting them online? Oh, right, because you read them all for free online and you don't actually buy the books. Oh, yeah, that's right. And you don't actually like comic books. Oh, or else you would know better than to make this bullcrap article using the original characters on the cover here. And, oh, there's 21 comments I just noticed. I wonder if I can find the comments here. Where are the comments? Let's see here. I guess we got to click on this. I live about 70 miles away from the nearest comic book, so I have titles on a hold list and drive over every few weeks to pick them up. I'm at the point now where I wonder if it's worth it. Getting really sick of Marvel's constant crossover reboot repeat strategy. Exactly what he's talking about is what the SJWs have been doing for the past 2 years. And he could order them online if he wants to. That's kind of silly to drive that far. As a fandom, we need to come up with a definition for reboot and stick with it. To me, starting over the numbering system isn't a reboot. Starting the story over is. Ooh, there you go. It's pretty good. Marvel is just stuck in a permanent event mindset. You're right. Even while stating there would be no, I think it was no, and not fewer events this year, there have been several. Yeah, I agree. It says, I for one are about done with Marvel. One, but only one of the reasons I stopped by Marvel. To lend some perspective to that, I bought Fantastic Four #1 off a spinner rack. See, they want the original characters back. I mean, really, he says, well, you won't last here at CBR. You actually wrote something that makes perfect sense. Yeah, he had a couple of things that made perfect sense and then went off on a tangent trying to blame fans for what's going on. That's the problem there. But, alright guys, I hope you liked this video. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. I just want to talk about this a little bit because it really gets on my nerves how they say one or two things that are true and they go off on a tangent trying to blame fans, trying to blame Marvel. And they're trying to blame Marvel for what they're doing now instead of blaming Marvel for what they did 2 years ago. That's the problem. Okay? That's what we need to fix. And they're trying to do it now, and now you're getting on them about trying to fix it. Like, I don't understand your mindset at all. You're pandering to the SJWs, and it needs to stop. Alright, guys. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Hope you liked the video, and I'll talk to you guys later. Underground Geek out.